What word would you use to describe how you feel about the world today?
I don't have just one word that I would use to describe how I feel about the world today. One of the first words I would use is uninformed. Unfortunately, I do not keep up to date on local, national, or worldwide news. I need to do a better job of this by checking headlines on a weekly basis so that I know what's going on in the world and can have talking points at networking events or just in general, my general awareness and learning.
Kyle, do you stay up to date on current world events?
Very little.
Have you ever traveled internationally?
Yes.
Where have you been?
Canada, Australia, Hungary, Norway, Mexico, Virgin Islands, Japan, Dominican Republic. That might be it.
Out of any of those, is there any you would recommend others visit, and why?
Australia. It's similar to America, but different.
Bruce, do you stay up to date on current world events?
Somewhat.
How do you stay up to date? How do you make sure you know what's going on?
I read the daily newspaper.
Have you ever traveled internationally?
Yes.
Where have you been?
Just Canada.
Dale, do you stay up to date on current world events?
Not as well as I should,
Is there a reason why?
because the news is too biased.
How often do you view international news?
Perhaps a couple times a week.
And then how do you view international news?
I use the BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel.
Okay, and then how does international news affect you?
Not much. I find it interesting, but it doesn't really affect me here in my bubble of life.
How often do you view international news?
I don't.
Okay, and then does international news or things going on in the world really affect you?
Not really. We discuss it, but that's about it.
Okay.
Where do you look at the international news?
I primarily look at the international news on the internet, sometimes on the TV, but the internet's my go-to source.
How often do you look at the international news?
Not really all that often. The only time I really look at it is if something's going on and I want to read more into it.
And do you care about the international news? And if so, or why not?
I mean, it's not that I don't care, I just don't go out of my way to look into it. I mean, the only time I really look into it is if something's happening and it pertains to the U.S. or other countries aren't getting along that could involve the U.S., so that's the only time I really look at it.
What I do have awareness about is actually the water crisis in Tanzania, and I'm sure there's similar issues in other areas of the world. I have gone to an event for the last 5 years. It's the Water Party, and have learned a lot about what's going on there, and that the kids are missing school to have to travel and go get water. And through that, I've become very curious about the country and have done some research to find out about a trip that I can go there on a mission trip, and hope to be able to do that within the next 5 to 10 years.
From doing this project, I've learned that typically Americans don't travel, but they often do, and the ones who do, they like to travel to countries that are very similar to the American culture because they don't want to step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, just going off what Zach said, I think people just focus on the negatives. That's why they don't go to like too many unique places. They go to the places they know, and the places they know they'll be safe, like vacation spots. But no one in the United States wants to go to India. No one wants to go to Asia. They just want to play it safe and maybe go to like some places in Mexico like Cancun. But no one wants to go outside of that bubble and actually look at the most amazing places on the planet.
And in conclusion, Americans are pretty naive when it comes to international news and international cultures. And our group kind of believes that's what creates the barrier between the American culture and the international cultures that surround us every day.
Grab your passport, pick a country, and head out on an adventure and learn all you can about that culture and the country.